This week we're going to take a look at the Stüve plot. What is it? Why might you want to use it? And how you can now create one in MetPy using MetPy's new Stüve axis. Welcome to another MetPy Monday. Hi, I'm John, a software engineer for Unidata, and this week I want to show you one of the new features in MetPy, which is making a Stüve plot. And we're going to talk a little bit about what a Stüve plot is. But as always with any Python project, the first thing we need to do is import a bunch of tools. One of the great things about Python is how many tools there are available. So what I'm going to do is import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, so we have our plotting tools. MetPy.calc as mpcalc, so we have some calculations available. NumPy as mp. These are sort of my standard imports when I'm doing anything with MetPy, really. From datetime, I'm going to import the datetime object because we're going to be accessing some remote data. From metpy.plots, we're going to import the Stüve axis object. From metpy.units, remember all of our calculations and work is united, I'm going to import units, and I'm also going to import the Pandas data frame to unit arrays helper. Now remember, when we're working with units and remote data, it's still a little bit tricky. It's got a lot better over the years, but units are just a hard thing to deal with, and it's still being somewhat sorted out, I would say. From Siphon, simple web service .wyoming, we're going to import the Wyoming upper air object. All right, all of our imports ran successfully. Now we need to actually get our data. In Python, this is sort of the standard workflow, right? We're going to do our imports, import the tools. We're going to access data, be that remotely or locally. We're going to do a little bit of processing and cleaning on that data, some pre-processing maybe, do any calculations that you need to do, and then finally make a plot and export that plot. So you'll see that in all of these MetPy Mondays in this series. We're going to follow this same pattern. We need a date, which is the datetime object. In this case, we're going to be looking at a May 20th, 2013 case. And we want the special sounding 18Z. This is from Central Oklahoma. So our station is going to be OUN, Central Oklahoma, providing us with so many good case studies over the years, of course. Now we're going to use that Wyoming upper air request data method to get this data. And don't forget, tab completion is your friend, saves you a lot of time in mistyping. Request data. And if you don't remember what request data takes, you can always use Shift-Tab and pull up this handy reference. I'm mostly going to look at the function signature here. Time and site ID. I can't always remember what order those are in, and Shift-Tab is just a way for me to easily find that out without having to go look it up in the documentation. So I'm going to pass it my datetime object and my string representing the station. And then I want to look at what we get back. So it goes out and gets that remote data, and we get a data frame back that looks like this. We see we've got pressure, height, temperature, dew point, wind direction, wind speed, U and V wind components that are calculated from that, the station number, the time, those are the same for every row. Latitude, longitude, elevation, and precipitable water, all same for every row as well. Okay, so now we need to deal with units. Right now this is just a data frame. There are no units attached. MetPy is unit aware, and we're going to depend on that. So I'm going to stick with the name data frame. That's how a lot of our examples work. There's going to be a little bit of a misnomer after we run this. We're going to call Pandas data frame to unit arrays, df, and let's see what we get back. Well, what we get back is a dictionary where the key is the name of that variable, like pressure or height, and the value to that key is this quantity array object. So it's got all of our values and a unit attached to them. So that's great. That's what we need to do our plotting. So I'm going to go ahead and show the Stüve here before we create it, so we know a little bit about what we're looking at. We have temperature on the x-axis of the plot down here, which is much like a Skew-T log P diagram that you might be used to looking at, but notice that the lines are vertical. This is not a Skew-T where those lines are skewed. Here we just have a regular vertical isotherm. Okay, so that's one big difference. You notice that this plot looks a lot more laid over than we are used to looking at on a Skew-T. The pressure is scaled, but it's not scaled in the normal way. So it's scaled pressure to the exponent R, or the gas constant, over Cp. So that's pressure to the 0.286 on the y-axis. And then we went ahead and plotted the labels here in values that you might be used to seeing. So this means that the dry adiabats are linear. They are straight lines. The moist adiabats, the blue lines here, are nonlinear. And one interesting thing about this, on a Skew-T log P, we're used to shading areas between parcel paths and environmental temperature to talk about CAPE and SIN, because that area is proportional to energy. But that is not the case on a Stüve diagram. It does not preserve that characteristic. So we can't depend on visual assessments of area for magnitudes of CAPE or SIN. So why would you want to use this? Well, I think this is mainly used as a teaching tool. And that's because these linear axes, and I put linear in quotes because there is some games going on with the scaling on the y here, but the temperature being on a traditional XY style orthogonal axes really helps students understand what they're looking at before we then introduce them to the Skew-T, which is probably the most commonly used thermodynamic diagram now, and just lets them get their head around what these diagrams look like with axes that they're used to before we introduce another complication. So I don't think the Stüve would be operationally used, but I do think, of course, that it would be great for those of you doing a thermodynamics course. Okay, great. So now that we've gone over what it is, let's actually make the plot. So we're going to create a figure. It's always just about the first step in making any plot. And I'm going to go ahead and specify my fig size as 9 by 9. Depending on how your Matplotlib RC is set up, that's going to mean what these units are. I have the defaults, and so I'm going to have inches here. Then I'm going to create a Stüve object, which is an instance of Stüve. Takes our figure. And then we're going to call Stüve.plot. And this is one of the things that MetPy does for you. We're still going to put pressure first, even though temperature is actually on the x-axis. Right? We're used to putting dependent, independent variables in this order, and we do this to make it a little easier to keep your head around as you're making these plots. Okay, and I'm going to specify that that is going to be tab red for the color. And then I'm going to copy and paste. And instead of temperature, we're going to use dewpoint. And that's going to be tab green. And let's just see what we get. Okay, so with 4 lines of code, we've got this plot. It's not super exciting yet, but with 4 lines of code, we were able to get a Stüve. That's pretty amazing. Even if you count all of the getting the data up here, that's about another 4 or 5 lines. So other than the imports, we're 10 lines into a program, and we already have pulled remote data and plotted it. That's pretty great. But we want to add some more things to this. We probably want to add some fiducial lines. This is at least what I call them. They're lines that are markers for things that we know about. So Stüve.plot, and then if you hit tab, you can see all the things available to you. I'm going to choose plot dry adiabats. Colors I'm going to specify as green. Line style, so I'm overriding some of the defaults to make the Stüve look how I like it, which is a solid green line for these that is narrow. I'm a line width of 0.5 point. And for the temperatures, so there is going to be a default temperature range, but I'm going to plot them over, again, a range that I like to see on the diagram, using the NumPy array range, -40 to 200 in steps of 10. Don't forget to attach our units, units.deg_c. And then we're going to plot moist adiabats. And for those, I'm going to accept the defaults and set the line width of 0.5. And now we have this diagram. So you can see I don't actually care about 200 degrees Celsius, but I want those lines to go further up, and this projects way off to about 200 degrees. Okay, so now I've got a Stüve diagram that has several fiducial lines on it, but I don't have any wind barbs yet, and I don't have a parcel profile, so we're going to add those next. All right, so back up into the code cell here, and let's start out by adding our winds. So if we plot all the winds, you can see it's going to get pretty clogged up here with a lot of data. Let's just do that first. So I'm going to plot pressure, and then if you need to see what it expects, again, Shift-Tab, U and V. So I'm going to plot the U wind, V wind, and that should be all we need. And yeah, we've got a lot more barbs over here than we might want, but actually I'm okay with this mostly. They're a little dense in places, but I don't think I want to throw too many out. So maybe instead of throwing them out, I just want to make sure they don't go off the top of my plot here, because that doesn't look good. That's not really useful for me. So let's limit that, and to do that we're going to use the getLayer function, which is one of the complicated but really useful MetPy calculation functions. So I'm going to get the pressure that the winds are at, the U and the V back out of this function. It's mpcalc getLayer, and then we pass in exactly these things, what we want to use getLayer on: pressure, U and V wind. And I'm going to specify that I want a depth of 800 units HPA from the surface. So that is going to take whatever my surface pressure is, go up 800 HPA, and limit the U and V wind components to that, and return them and store them in wind pressure, wind U, wind V, and that's what I'm going to plot. And there we go. Now I don't have the wind barbs running off the top of my screen. The final thing that we're going to do is calculate parcel profile and plot. The profile, we use mpcalc's parcel profile method, and we're going to give it pressure, temperature at the surface, that's going to be the 0th element, dewpoint at the surface, the 0th element, and then I want that in degrees Celsius, since that's what our plot is in. It's going to come back in Kelvin, so I'm going to use the to method, degrees Celsius. Then we just call Stüve.plot like any other line. We've got pressure and profile, and I'm going to plot it as a black line. And there we go. So this is our Stüve diagram with our temperature on the X, our scaled height, our scaled pressure on the Y. We've got our temperature, dew point, and parcel profile along with our fiducial lines, and a depth-limited wind barb plot on the right-hand side of the plot. So again, if you're teaching thermodynamics, I encourage you to play with this diagram, or even if you're just into thermodynamics and upper air data, sometimes it's kind of fun to look at the data plotted in a way that we're not used to seeing anymore. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on next week's MetPy Monday.